Dark winds moved across the broken research moon Vorexus 9, carrying dust that glowed faint blue under the weak sun. The old mining fields looked empty, abandoned long ago after the parasite outbreak that killed nearly every living thing. What remained was silence, the kind that made even strong soldiers uneasy. But the silence suddenly broke. A young alien woman staggered across the cracked ground, breathing hard, her steps uneven. Her name was Elira, a healer from a peaceful species known for their calm voices and bright eyes. But right now her eyes looked dull, her skin pale, and her breath came in sharp, painful bursts. Inside her body something was moving, something she could feel crawling through her veins. She pressed a shaking hand against her chest and whispered to herself, "Not yet. Please, not yet." Her people had tried to escape the parasite outbreak, but the infected spread too fast. The colonies fell one by one. Elira survived only because her shuttle crashed on the far side of the moon, away from the main infected zone. She had been walking for 2 days, hoping someone, anyone, might find her. But now, she could barely stand. She stumbled, fell to her knees, and grabbed onto a bent metal beam sticking out of the ground. Her vision blurred. The parasite inside her shifted again, sending hot, sharp pain up her spine. She cried out, her voice weak. The wind swallowed the sound. Her legs finally gave up, and she collapsed onto her side. Dust rose around her tired body. She tried to push herself up, but could no longer move her arm. Her heartbeat slowed. Her eyelids grew heavy. Before she slipped into darkness, she saw something. Not a hallucination, not a dream. A human. A tall figure in dark armor walked through the dust storm. The armor shone silver where the light hit it, and a long rifle rested across his back. The markings on his chest plate clearly showed the symbol of the Human Relief Battalion. Elira felt a trembling spark of hope. Humans were rare on Vorexus 9. They had arrived only 3 weeks ago to search for survivors, but most believed no one was left alive. Yet, here he was. The soldier saw her at the same moment. His visor flashed as he turned sharply and sprinted toward her. Elira tried to speak, but could only whisper, "Please." He reached her in seconds and dropped to one knee. His name was Corin Hale, known for surviving missions other soldiers refused. His voice was deep but gentle as he spoke through his helmet. Hey, stay with me. I've got you," he said. He touched the side of his helmet, activating a scan. A thin blue light moved across Elira's body. His visor instantly filled with warnings. Parasite detected. Stage 3 infiltration. Host at critical condition. Immediate stabilization required. Corin swore under his breath but kept his voice calm. "You're not dying today. Not while I'm here." Elira reached out with a weak, trembling hand and grabbed the front of his armor. Her fingers barely had strength, but she held on like she feared he might vanish. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Don't. Stop." Corin misunderstood. He thought she meant, "Don't stop helping me," or "Don't stop running." He thought she was telling him not to leave her in the storm. "I won't," he said firmly. He lifted her into his arms, shocked by how light she was. "I'm taking you somewhere safe." Her head rested weakly against his chest, her breath warm but fading. She tried again, forcing the words out between gasps. "Don't. Stop. Don't." But she couldn't finish the sentence, because the truth was something deeper, something he didn't yet understand. Inside her body, the parasite activated only when her consciousness weakened. If she passed out, she would die within minutes. "Don't stop" didn't mean don't stop running. It meant don't let me lose consciousness. Don't let me die. Corin didn't know that yet, but he still held her closer, as if sensing the danger in her fading voice. The storm thickened around them, pushing dust into fast-moving walls. Corin tightened his grip on her and ran. His boots slid over loose stones, and the wind hit him so hard his armor groaned. But he leaned forward and pushed through, his legs moving with mechanical determination. Elira fought to stay awake. Every few seconds her eyes closed, but Corin's rough, steady voice pulled her back. "Stay with me. Keep your eyes open. Don't slip away. I'm right here," he said again and again. His voice became the only anchor she had left. Finally, the storm opened for a moment, revealing the dark outline of an abandoned mining station. The building was collapsed in places, rusted metal sheets hanging like torn wings. But the main entrance still stood. Corin rushed toward it, Elira's arms limp around his neck. A small access panel blinked red as he approached, scanning his armor. After a pause, it turned green and unlocked. The heavy door slid open with a slow, metallic groan. Warm, stale air flowed out. Corin carried her inside and kicked the door shut. The storm outside faded into muffled thunder. Inside the station, flickering lights and cracked screens lit the shadows. Elira shivered in his arms. Corin lowered her onto an old stretcher and pulled off one glove. He placed his bare hand gently against her forehead. Her skin was hot, much hotter than any healthy body should be. She let out a soft, sharp cry as the parasite reacted violently to his touch. Corin jerked back, startled, but her hand shot up and caught his wrist. "No, don't touch. It helps," she whispered. Corin froze. "What do you mean it helps?" he asked. She swallowed painfully. "Your human field, it keeps it away." Corin stared at her, confused. "Human field? You mean human biofield?" Elira nodded weakly. Humans were known for strong biological radiation, a natural energy signature that confused many alien organisms. Most species barely felt it, but parasites hated it. Corin slowly reached out again and touched her arm. The reaction was immediate. The parasite inside her retreated. The black lines visible beneath her skin shrank slightly. Elira's breathing steadied for a moment, and she closed her eyes in relief. Corin's expression hardened. "So that's why you said, 'Don't stop.' You meant, 'Don't stop touching you, or you'll die.'" Elira couldn't speak. She only nodded. Corin sat beside her and placed both hands gently on her shoulders, letting his human biofield surround her. The strange warmth that flowed from his skin soothed her pain. The parasite curled away, afraid. Corin whispered, "You're safe. I won't let you die." But he knew the truth. This was temporary. His touch slowed the parasite, but it didn't eliminate it. Elira opened her eyes, looking up at him through blurred vision. "You... human... why are you here?" "I'm searching for survivors," Corin said. "Everyone said this moon was empty, but I don't believe in giving up." Elira tried to smile, but couldn't. "You found one survivor." "You're more than that," Corin said softly. "You're someone I'm going to keep alive." Her chest tightened, but this time not from the parasite. She whispered, barely audible, "Don't let me fall asleep." "I won't," Corin answered. He adjusted his position, making sure his hand stayed on her arm. She relaxed slightly, leaning into him, her head resting gently against his shoulder. Every few moments she whispered, "Don't stop," and every time Corin answered in the same steady tone, "I won't." Minutes turned into hours. The station lights flickered and dust rattled against the metal walls as the storm raged outside. But inside, in the quiet, dim room, Corin stayed beside her, never pulling his hand away. Sometimes she slipped into half-sleep, but Corin shook her lightly and whispered, "Stay awake, don't leave me." Other times she gasped in pain, and Corin shifted closer, letting more of his warmth reach her. The parasite tried to adapt, pushing forward slowly, searching for a way past the human's presence. But it couldn't. The field around Corin's body confused it, terrified it, burned it. Elira began to understand something she had never believed before. Humans weren't strong only in muscles or technology. They were strong in a way deeper than biology, a resilience that pushed back against anything that tried to kill them. And now that strength was keeping her alive. By the end of the night, Elira whispered again, her voice trembling but full of hope. "You didn't stop." Corin smiled, tired but determined. "I told you. Humans don't stop." And for the first time since the outbreak began, Elira believed she might actually live to see another sunrise. The old mining station was silent except for the soft hum of weak lights and the distant storm pounding against the metal walls. Corin sat beside Elira on the cold floor, keeping one hand on her arm so the parasite inside her would not advance. Hours had passed, and the steady rise and fall of her breathing told him she was holding on, but barely. Her eyes opened slowly. She looked exhausted, like someone who had run from death for too long. Corin spoke softly. "You awake?" Elira nodded faintly. Even moving her head drained her strength. "How long have I been out?" she whispered. "Not long," Corin answered. "Just small moments. I kept you awake when I could." Elira's fingers trembled as she lifted her hand and touched the back of his. "Your presence. It holds it back. Every time you touched me, the parasite stopped moving." Corin knew. He had seen the black lines under her skin shrink whenever his hand made contact. He wasn't fully sure why, but human cells produced a strange natural energy. Something most alien species never understood, but this was the first time he saw a parasite react like prey. "You're not dying on my watch," he said. Elira gave a weak smile. "Humans always talk like that, like failure is impossible." "It is impossible," Corin replied with a small shrug. "At least for me." Elira closed her eyes briefly. "Your confidence. It's strange. It almost makes me believe I'll survive." "You will," Corin said. "But we need to understand this parasite before it adapts." He pulled out his portable human medical kit. The case was scuffed and dented from years of field missions. He opened it, revealing scanners, injectors, a small data screen, and a human neural stabilizer unit. He lifted Elira's arm gently and scanned the visible dark lines. The data screen flickered, showing a moving shape inside her bloodstream, long, thin, almost worm-like, but filled with sharp tendrils that latched onto her nerves. Corin frowned. "This thing is advanced, too advanced." "It looks engineered." Elira's eyes widened with fear. "Engineered? For what?" Corin hesitated. "Maybe not engineered for your species, but definitely created for invasion." Elira's breathing grew shaky. "My people, we were healers. We had no wars. We never imagined something like this." Corin tightened his grip on her shoulder. "The galaxy is full of monsters. But humans, we've survived worse." He scanned again. The parasite shrank away from the scanner when Corin's body was close, but when he leaned back even a little, the parasite pushed forward again, its tendrils stretching toward Elira's core. Corin immediately leaned in. His presence alone forced it back. A chill went down Elira's spine. "It's afraid of you." "Yeah," Corin muttered. "And I intend to use that." He reached behind him and activated a small energy lantern, pushing back the shadows in the room. Elira looked around for the first time, taking in the rusted equipment, broken data terminals, and cracked windows. "This place," she whispered. "How did you find it?" "Patrol route," Corin answered. "Humans mapped this area when we arrived on the moon. Most buildings were empty, but this one still had power." "You plan to bring survivors here?" "Yeah," he said. "Didn't expect to actually find one." Elira looked down at her hands. "I never expected humans to save me." Corin shrugged. "Humans save whoever needs saving." Elira's eyes softened. Your people. You're strange, Corin. Dangerous, stubborn, but kind. Corin laughed quietly. You forgot loud. Humans are very loud. Elira tried to laugh too, but it turned into a pained gasp. Corin quickly placed his palm on her chest, just above where the black veins pulsed. A wave of relief washed through her, and she grabbed his wrist with both hands, holding it there. Don't stop, she whispered. I won't. She leaned her head against his shoulder again, breathing unevenly. Corin adjusted his position so his body heat surrounded her more. Her species was naturally warm, but now she felt cold, like something inside her was stealing her life. He wanted to ask more questions, but Elira's voice came first, soft but fixed with quiet fear. Corin, how long do you think I can survive like this? Corin didn't lie. Without help? Hours. Maybe less. Elira closed her eyes and exhaled. I thought so. But with help? Corin continued. We have a chance. How? She whispered. I'll figure it out, Corin said. Humans improvise. That's what we do. Elira held on to his hand more tightly. Then, improvise fast. Corin checked her scan again. The parasite was still retreating. He stared at the data and froze when he noticed one detail. When his hand fully covered her skin, the parasite not only retreated, it became slower. Much slower. Almost dormant. That's it, Corin whispered. Your body reacts to proximity. If I stay close, it can't move. Elira blinked, confused. You mean, it's suppressed by you? Not me exactly. My biology. My species. My energy field is confusing it. Human energy? She whispered. Corin nodded. Human cells produce intense bioelectric signatures, stronger than most species. Elira's voice was soft. Your kind always feel warm to us. Now I understand why. Corin leaned more, placing a second hand against her arm. The dark lines under her skin shrank further. Elira inhaled sharply in relief. It hurts less. Good. That means it's working. Corin, she said weakly. Don't leave me. Corin shook his head. I'm not leaving. A long silence followed. Heavy, but safe. Elira rested her forehead lightly against his shoulder. Corin felt her trembling slowly fade as the parasite calmed under human presence. Outside, the storm screamed louder, slamming dust against the metal walls. But inside, it almost felt peaceful. Almost. Corin checked the power systems in the station. We only have 6 hours of backup energy left. Elira lifted her head slightly. What happens after that? The heat goes out, the doors unlock, the moon creatures come in, and the storm probably tears half the building apart. Elira's voice shook. So, we have 6 hours to fix me. Corin nodded. Or move you to a safer place. But with your condition, moving is risky. He thought for a moment. Then he reached behind his belt and pulled out a human neural stabilizer, a small disc that normally synced soldiers' brain waves during injuries. Elira stared at it. What is that? A device that links nervous systems temporarily. It stabilizes the brain and slows internal damage. Elira frowned weakly. Will it help me? Maybe, Corin said honestly, but it only works if I sync it to both of us. You mean, connect our minds? Temporarily? Just enough to confuse the parasite? Elira hesitated. Is it safe? For me? Probably. For you? I don't know. But without trying, you'll die. Elira closed her eyes. She wasn't afraid of dying. She had already accepted it. But she wasn't ready to leave her people as the final memory bearer, the last voice of her village. She slowly nodded. Do it. Corin gently placed the stabilizer on the back of her neck. She shivered at the cold touch. Then he placed the second connector on his own neck. The machine activated with a soft pulse. A wave of energy flowed through both of them. Alira gasped, squeezing Corin's hand. Her vision blurred, but she stayed conscious. Corin steadied her, holding her shoulder as the device linked their nervous systems. Slowly, the parasite reacted, violently at first. It twisted, trying to escape the new force pressing against it. Then something strange happened. Because the stabilizer synced Alira's nerves with human ones, the parasite sensed two human biofields instead of one. A strong one and a weaker one mixed into her body. It panicked. It curled away from her organs, retreating toward her arm. Alira let out a cry, not of pain but of sudden relief. "It's moving away, Corin! It's scared of you! It's terrified!" Corin tightened his grip. "Good. It should be." For a moment, hope filled the room. Then the stabilizer began sparking. Corin grabbed the device. "This thing wasn't made for alien biology. It's overheating." "Should we stop?" Alira asked. "No," Corin said quickly. "Stopping will let the parasite recover." The sparks grew loud. The room filled with a smell of burning metal. Alira trembled. Her voice broke. "Corin, I can't—" "Hold!" "You can," Corin said firmly. "You're not dying today." The parasite twisted again, curling into a knot near her shoulder. Her body shuddered with the sudden shift. Finally, the stabilizer beeped and shut down on its own. Both of them collapsed slightly, breathing hard. The parasite had retreated, not gone, but weakened. Alira slowly lifted her hand and touched her chest. The burning pain from earlier was softer now. She opened her eyes and looked at Corin, her voice breaking with emotion. "You saved me again." Corin shook his head. "We bought time. That's all." She leaned closer, exhausted. "Still, you stayed. You kept touching me. You didn't stop." Corin met her gaze. "I told you, humans don't stop." Alira closed her eyes and whispered, "Then stay with me, until morning." Corin adjusted his position so she could rest against him fully. His presence kept the parasite trapped and afraid. As the storm finally began to calm, Corin watched Alira slowly close her eyes, not in death, but in a fragile sleep. He kept his hand on hers and whispered softly in the dim room, "I won't let you die."